Ricky Starks has made his NXT debut. We have the reason Ricky went to NXT and not the main roster, and we have an update on the Young Bucks' AEW return coming up. So a couple of days after people noticed he was gone from the official AEW roster page, and a couple of days after the reports came out from the likes of the Wrestling Observer confirming that Ricky Starks had left AEW, Ricky Starks has made a shoot appearance inside the NXT shed.
Yeah, there was no need to say his name as he appeared anyway inside the NXT shed, emerging from the back of the crowd with microphone in hand before the steel cage main event between Tony D and Ridge Holland. But this is quite important that they didn't mention him by name. It felt like when the Voodoo Kin Mafia would show up in TNA. We know who this is. Yeah.
Stark says it's obvious that we know who he is without mentioning what his name is. And if NXT is the future of professional wrestling, you need an absolute superstar of the future. He calls himself the hottest free agent, coming to the hottest brand in professional wrestling. Where is the lie? I do not know. We are not to let the handsome face and expensive fragrance fool us. Ricky is here to turn the place upside down. And he says the revolution will be televised.
Yes, or is televised now.
Yes.
It's interesting that he didn't say his own name. Vic Joseph did the whole thing that I mentioned there. That we do know who that is without actually saying who it was. Could this mean that Ricky Starks is about to get a new ring name, because WWE applied to trademark several new ring names this week?
I thought it was funny they put this in, because this story came out yesterday where the names are funny, objectively funny.
My problem whenever this happens, and it's very, very NXT names, they're all clearly written by one person. Yeah. They've all got the same vibe.
Awesome manatees in a big pool, picking up balls and just throw them across the way.
Some examples include Harley Riggins, Aria Bennett, Braxton Cole, Mason Holiday. Mason Holiday. Summer Sorrell or Sorrell, Hayes Jameson, Tate Wilder, Jax Presley, Osiris Griffin, Draco Knox, Trill London, and Chantel Monroe. Will Ricky Starks be Mason Holiday?
I don't think he will, but it's just, it's there for a reason. Obviously, his name wasn't mentioned on the show last night. That story has come out. We know for a fact, though, if you're worried about him being called Osiris Griffin, it will not be him, because this man on Twitter last night, he's called Joshua Black. He works for WWE. He changed his name on X to Osiris Duree, and Jackie seems overjoyed about his new name.
Yeah, Joshua Black's a PC man. Weird new art for me with the blushing emoji. Damn, I really got to get hold of an Egyptian seminar for a lot of y'all, huh? Someone make a Zoom meeting in the near future for us. Oh, I've really got to hold an Egyptian seminar, because Osiris is a name of an Egyptian god, I believe.
I wouldn't know.
And then he shared a photo of Peter Griffin from Family Guy in Egyptian gear. Osiris Griffin. Yeah.
It writes itself, doesn't it?
He's not happy about that.
No, he's not. And I'm sure that'll go down well for him, being so new to the business and obviously not happy with his new name.
I admire his Kavorka. I think that shows a good... I mean... CM Punk hadn't ruffled any feathers. He'd never have made it to where he made it. Yeah, and this is a good start for...
You've got to be not scared to walk on some eggshells backstage, we've heard from many people down the years. It's not true. But Fightful Select have a little update on the fact that Ricky Starks wasn't mentioned by name there, saying Starks debuted on the February 11th NXT, notably not actually saying his name. The crowd knew, however, and chanted it repeatedly. They were going, Ricky, Ricky, Ricky. And Fightful continues saying, we're told this was the expected reaction, and that not mentioning him by name wasn't an accident. However, we've not been told why specifically that is.
Yeah.
So why is it then?
Yeah, maybe it is a new name then coming in. I don't know. But Fightful Select also have painted a bit of a better picture of what Ricky's week has looked like leading into this debut. They say Fightful had heard word of AEW releases on Friday, but they didn't end up becoming official until this week. We're told that these had long been considered, with Ricky Starks among the names that were in the plans for the release. As one would expect, the deal with Ricky Starks came together very quickly once he became available, and there was no non-compete clause as well. No. As of December, Fightful go on to say, we'd been told that nobody from WWE had communicated interest to Starks, but those we spoke to there knew he'd be signed if he became available, and he did.
Are you a little bit shocked he's in NXT? I am not. I think it's the perfect place for it to be, because as we all know, the men's main event in the NXT sort of scene is lacking in star power, so him being straight in there, I think makes a lot of sense in the world.
It does, yeah, it does, because you might be a lot of people might be disappointed, and maybe rightly so as well, that he's a big name coming in from AEW. A big story is that he's been disgruntled in AEW by all appearances, and now he's in NXT. But like you say, it's all about, I don't want to say spreading it thin, because that sounds like a bad thing, but not cluttering the main roster, I suppose. Yeah. Fightful do have an update on that as well, Fightful Select. saying Fightful inquired with NXT and main roster sources as to why Ricky's not on the main roster. Those we spoke to on the main roster said that they believe the majority of creative heading into WrestleMania is already planned, and NXT would be much more fluid, like you say, working him into the fold. Word of Starks being on the show circulated around the Performance Center about 30 minutes before the show.
God, imagine working backstage and hearing Ricky Starks is there at work.
Oh, I'd fanboy my arse off.
Yeah, everybody would.
Him and Osiris Griffin in the same room.
At the same time, it's incredible scenes. But yeah, Ricky Starks won't be called Osiris Griffin. That's already been taken by somebody else, which is quite sad. I don't know if we're being serious here saying Ricky Starks will get a new name. It is just a little bit odd how they didn't do it, and apparently there is a reason for that.
The only reason I can think of off the top of my head is the new name.
Yeah.
Unless they just wanted to prove what a big name he is by having the crowd already know it without saying it. But that feels not very WWE. They'd hammer it home, sure.
Yeah, but as we all know, Shawn Michaels likes to break the mold and take us to places we've never been before with his booking of his wrestling shows. Who do you think he faces at Stand Deliver? Because that's why you would assume they'd do a big debut match, because it looks like the world title picture's sewn up. Trick Willie and Obafemi probably going at it again there. Where does Ricky Starks fit in?
Well, then I think he'll face like a mid to upper mid-card heel, like an Eddie Thorpe or someone like that, yeah.
Safe as houses, Eddie Thorpe. Right, the Young Bucks. Big news about them is coming out of their press conference following their big IWGP tag team title loss to those lads from Los Ingobernables de Japón. That's how you say it, isn't it, Jack? Naito and Takahashi took the tag team titles away from yesterday at the New Beginning in Osaka. Matt Jackson saying returning to New Japan for the Young Bucks has been the experience of his life, is the direct quote, and the pair of them felt they had to go back to Japan for their mental health and to make things right by mending some broken fences. But we're reading between the lines a bit here, but it looks like their AEW return is happening soon.
Yeah, Matt also said, we're better men. We've mended those fences, and I think it's time to come back to work. So it would imply AEW.
Because they have been working from home in kayfabe, in AEW storyline, yes.
And he says, I don't know immediately, but soon. We're getting there. We've healed. We had to go on another journey. We're globe-trotting men. We travel the world, and we do what we do best, better than anybody. And even tonight, we still look talented as hell. You got to admit that. You heard Osaka. We have a connection with this place, with this city. So it seems like it's a bit half real, half kayfabe stuff there. Like, he's still doing the arrogant Young Bucks thing. Yeah. But also, there are clues there, him saying, time to go back to work soon and that sort of thing.
Yeah, not immediately, but soon is the quote there. Where do we reckon they do come back? If it is soonish, do you reckon they get involved in the Death Riders storyline?
God, they're going to, aren't they?
Come back to save AEW?
I think it'll be a big indication of whether things actually have changed in their absence. If they come back and they're straight in against the Death Riders, then I don't think much has changed. If they come back in and maybe go against like the Hurt Syndicate in the tag team division, then maybe they've taken a bit more of not a back seat, but like they won't be as involved in the main event scene.
That would be very good for the Hurt Syndicate if the Bucks came back and then they were fed to the Hurt Syndicate.
Oh, that would be a huge feud.
Would it happen though? It remains to be seen.
I can just imagine Cope going, I've found two men who know how to beat you, Death Riders.
But they're not going to get cheered, are they, on the return?
They've been the bad guys for no, I think they might. Fans are fickle.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, God. Does that turn Cope heel? Because originally, obviously, Moxley was trying to save AEW from people like the Young Bucks.
Well, I've not got an immense amount of faith that that'll be acknowledged if the Bucks come back.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll see what happens, but it is happening soonish if you believe Matt Jackson's words there. Jack, you're streaming things later.
Right, me and Owen are streaming tonight, but not at the usual start time. We usually start at 6 p.m. UK time. We're going back an hour earlier and starting at 5 p.m. UK time. 5 until 7 will be the slot for twitch.tv/Cultaholic, which is where me and Owen play Football Manager. Not the new one, because that's just been cancelled. Just not bringing the game up.
It's terrible, isn't it?
Yeah, it's... How could that? It doesn't matter. It's fine.
Someone asked for new graphics, didn't they? Isn't that the T? And then they try to do it too quickly, too much, too soon.
But they put it on pre-sale and everything. And then,
down with the Sports Interactive if they still make it. I've not played Football Manager for years.
I think it is Sports Interactive.
Down with them. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll see you for video 2 later on.